Good day all, welcome to Obed Farm. So you say that you want to start raising layer chickens. Well, all of us want to be farmers, and at the same time we all want to know the maths behind farming. What it is to raise 100 chicken. But before we start talking about raising the chickens and how we're going to raise the chickens, we still first need to know what kind of breeds are available in Zimbabwe. That is where we will do our starting point, and what these chickens do for us to make sure that we do make money. At this point in time, I would like to say, everyone, please like and subscribe to the channel, as this helps me grow the channel and give you more information. So here we go. First and foremost, most of our layer breeds, we have got the commercial layer breeds, and then we have what we know as the indigenous breeds. These two types of breeds are the ones that are highly found here in Zimbabwe. We have got the Australopithecus. I hope I've actually pronounced that word correct because it's very difficult for me. The Rhode Island Red, the White Sussex, the Hairline, the Isa Brown, and the Red Star. These are the main breeds of layer chickens that are found in Zimbabwe. But this is not limited to just these breeds. There are many other breeds that are available which do lay eggs and are available in Zimbabwe. But these are the ones that you will find at most places when you are trying to find these birds. Now, at this point in time, they fall now into two common groups. The ones which we say for commercial, and then there is also the group which is now the indigenous birds. What we're saying that indigenous birds is not that they are indigenous, but then these are the ones which we consider as our road runners here in Zimbabwe. But at this point in time, let's talk about the commercial breeds. The commercial breeds that we have are the Rhode Island Red, the Highline, and the Isa Brown. These are the ones that are mainly found at your big companies which sell them in Zimbabwe. These companies are Capital Feed, Ivans, Charles & Stewart, and Profeeds, plus many other companies that do sell birds. But these are the companies that I do know which do have these breeds available. As we keep on go through this thing, we have these, they sell them at two types of ways. They either sell them as day-old chicks or point of lay. What are day-old chicks and what are point of lay? Day-old chicks means a chicken that is 0 to 1 day old. These are what is known as a day-old chick. The point of lay is roughly between 16 to 18 weeks of age. At this point in time, they are either laying or they are about to start laying eggs. So these are the two types of birds that these commercial companies do sell to customers. Normally, a day-old chick would start anything between $1 to $1.50. This is available due to demand. Point of lays start at $8 to $10 depending on demand. Now, at also this point in time, I would like to also say that when you buy these breeds of birds that I have just spoken about, the Rhode Island, the Highline, or the Isa Brown, they will give you 100, or depending on the quantity you buy, but normally it's 25, 50, and 100, which they sell. Then after that 100, you then just buy how many you want. But the lowest number you can buy is 25. At this point in time, they will give you 100 chicks which are all hens. You need to remember this because they are hens and they are cocks which are available. But when you buy from these commercial companies, especially when it comes to laying chickens, they will give you 100 of those birds. If you buy 100, they will all be hens. Why I needed to say this in specific is so that you will understand when it comes to the more of the free-range birds that are sold. This is a very important thing for you to remember. And this is just a rough idea of how many eggs these birds do lay. It is not cast in stone. Please take me for serious. It is also about your management of these birds, how you will then be able to achieve these numbers. A Rhode Island layer chicken normally lays between 250 to 300 eggs per year, whilst a Hairline will produce between 300 to 310 eggs per year. An ISA brown will produce between 300 to 350 eggs per year. As I said, this depends on a lot of factors. Those factors mainly being how you yourself are the one who takes care of these birds. Now, at this point in time, let us go to our local birds, which I say are now being sold as your roadrunners, and these are the ones which are common here, which is the Astrolopus. As I say, please, if I pronounce it wrong, please don't shoot me. We have got the Sussex and the Red Star. At this point in time, let me just start again with the one which is very difficult. The Aspel, normally it's about $1 to $1.50, which are day-old chicks, and between $8 to $10 as point of lay. Sussex is between $1.50 to $2 day-old, and between $10 to $15 at point of lay. Red Star, as I said again, between $1.50 to $2 for a day old, and between $10 to $15 for point of lay. As I said again, this comes according to demand. If there is a high demand of these chicks that people want at that given time, the prices actually do go up. If there is no demand, the prices do come back down. So at all these things that I have just spoken, this is just a guideline for you to understand that this is roughly how much they would cost. Then, when we start again, the Astrolopus normally lays about 250 eggs, whilst the Sussex White normally lays between 240 to 260 eggs. The Red Star between 300 to 320 eggs. Why I have then spoken about this is now whereby I come back to that point where I was saying that when you buy these chickens, there is now a little bit of a different catch. When you buy chickens from people or the companies that do sell these roadrunners, which we consider them as roadrunners, they will not sell you 100 hens. Please understand that. You are not going to get 100 hens. They will now do a mix. What I'm saying by a mix is that the mix is they will now mix these eggs between anything between 70, 40, give you hens, and they are going to give you cocks. So at this point, you are now going to be given the two type of breeds of these same birds, which are now a mix between hens and cocks. At this point in time, I also want you to realize that they will normally give you more cocks than hens. So yes, that is the trade-off when you're now buying these hens. But some other companies or some other people, if you say that you want more hens than cocks, they will increase the price of money for the number of hens that you need to buy. So if you say that you want 100 hens, there will be a different price than if you pay the standard price. Please speak to the person who you are buying from, and they explain to you how many hens and how many cocks they are going to give you. Commercial layer birds. We have now come to this point whereby now we have decided that we want to buy 100 layer bird chicks. Let's start with the day-old chick. How much is it going to cost? So this is a rough estimate, and at this point in time, I am going to give you a rough estimate which is more on the high end than on the low end. At this point in time, also, I would like to then tell you that I am going to do one which covers day-old and the ones where you buy at point of lay. These are the two options that you do have as a person who wants to do chickens which lay. So the commercial birds, a day-old chick would roughly cost between $1.50. Let us put it at $1.50 for 100 chicks. That means $150 for the chicks. From 0 to 8 weeks, you are going to be feeding them chicken mash. This is 50 kg bag, which is roughly about 4 bags, and at roughly about $33 per bag. That means that in total, it's going to come up to $132. Please note that this price is a rough estimate. There are other places where the food costs will be very expensive and other places where it will be cheaper. But I am giving you an average. Between 6 to 12 weeks, we then change them from chick mash to chicken grower mash. At this point, we will need 9 bags because their conversion now is actually a bit higher. This is roughly between $29.50 to about $30. So I've taken it between $29.50, which will come up to $265.50 for those 9 bags. Between 17 to 70 weeks, these layers will now go into what is known as layer mash. At this point in time, this is the time when these birds now start producing for you revenue. So what do I mean? We are roughly going to use 91 bags at roughly $30 each. And that means it comes up to $2,730. This means from the day we get our day-old chick at 0 days to 70 weeks, we would have spent $3,277.50 for purchasing the chickens, the feed only. I have not put in the labor costs. I have not put in your medication. I have not put in your vaccinations. Please note that these are costs which I have not put in. Reasons being is that depending on where you are, the vaccination will be cheaper, and depending where you are, sometimes your labor will vary. So this is just a cost without the labor cost and medication. This is something you will also then need to factor into your figures. We have raised 100 chickens, but as usual, let us not lie to each other. There are going to be some mortalities in your chickens that you have raised. We are going to roughly put it at 10%, and this 10% means that we have been able to really minimize the deaths of our chicken. And by this point in time, at 17 weeks, we are now happy that our chickens are now ready to start laying eggs. And as usual, at about 90% of those birds, which are 90, we're now talking about 90 birds that we do have, which are going to be 90% giving us eggs every day. That does not, because it also, you need to understand that layer chickens do not give you an egg every day. There will be times that they will skip days. So we are saying that those 90 birds which you now have, on average, are giving you 90 eggs per day. 90% of them are laying daily. That means you're roughly getting about 81 eggs per day. At 81 eggs per day, that means for 7 days, we are getting 367 eggs. These 367 eggs means for the next 53 weeks, we were going to get in total 1,051 eggs. Here in Zimbabwe, when we sell our eggs, a tray is normally 30 eggs. And that means in total, we are going to get about 1,002 trays of eggs. Because you are not going, there is a way of now how you then sell these eggs. You can actually be the person who sells individually, or you'll be selling them at wholesale. Currently, eggs are anything between $4 to $4.50. These figures will fluctuate again according to the market. If the market is flooded, egg prices go down. If there is not enough eggs, especially in the winter season, egg prices go up. So we are now looking at the number of eggs that we do have, and after 70, we sell these eggs at roughly $4 each. That means that in total, we are going to get $4,008. I've not included us looking at the eggs, looking at the labor and the medication. But it means that after 70 weeks, we have broken even. After 70 weeks is when we start making profit from a day-old chick all the way to this point in time. What we're now saying is that $4,080 is the amount of money that you should have spent on raising the chicks, feeding the chicks, labor, medication, vaccination. At 71 weeks, this is the time you start making a profit out of your layers. Why we're saying that this is the time you start making a profit out of your layers is now that you're only going to be concentrating on feeding your eggs, feeding your chickens, one, and making sure that your chickens are vaccinated, at the same time making sure that you're paying for your labor. This is the time you start making a profit. So from 71 weeks onwards is the time you start making a profit from your layers. Now, scenario number 2. Your scenario number 2 is that you go and you purchase your layers at point of lay. This means that you have skipped a good 17 weeks of one of the most difficult thing. This is whereby you're trying to make sure that these chickens are being fed, you're making sure that they've got enough brooding, they've got everything that they need to grow. And all you're just doing is getting a chicken that is already at the point of lay. So, what are you going to be paying? You are roughly going to be paying $10 per bird. That means for 100 birds, you're paying 1,000. But this is the advantage. It means that you have got 100 chickens which are already at point of lay. That means that you, at that given time, we are saying that you have got no losses. You are just now starting to make a profit. We are then going to take the same roughly number of weeks it will then take you to, which we would have taken if we had started from point 0 to point 70 weeks. We are then saying your layer mesh is going to cost for 53 weeks, 91 bags at $30, which is also $2,730, plus your 1,000 for your chicks, that comes up to 3,730. And we are saying out of that 100 birds, 90% are laying every day. That means on average, you are now getting 360 eggs per week. That means our total number of trays of 30 eggs, which means that we're now getting 1,113 trays at roughly $4 per tray. That means that we are going to earn $4,452. So, what have we done here? We have broken it down in such a way that each and every scenario has its pros and cons. So, which one of the two is better? For me, I would say for a person who has never done laying eggs, I would say to you, go for the point of lay if you have the capital. The reason why I say go for point of lay, it's because you are already starting to get money from the next following week. Yes, the initial cost will be high. That is $1,000 plus roughly, let's say, $60 for your layers mesh on the first week. Why it becomes so much is because you feel as if the $1,000 compared to you starting off with a good $150 plus, let's say roughly at that given time you would have just only probably bought 2 bags of starter mash. It means that you have got money available to you. But taking care of these birds from day old until week 15 is not an easy thing. These things will die. And when they die and they start dying and you're not sure why they are dying, you will find that in one day you can lose 20 of these chickens just to you not knowing that they need vaccination, or because someone has gone into your chicken run who is not supposed to go in there. They have cross-contaminated with some other animals. Why do we all do all these things when we then look at the profit margins and looking so small? This game is a game of numbers. The more birds you have, the more you will get as a reward. You want to start layer chicken production. I have only spoken of 100. Yes, the profits may seem very minimal, but imagine it is what I would say an economy of scale. The more you have, the more you will get as a profit. So, a person who is starting this cost for one person raising 100 chicken and the cost for a person raising 500 chickens is the same. It does not increase. A vaccination normally it comes in 500s or 1000s here. So when you need to vaccinate for 100 birds, you are paying for probably vaccination which covers 500 to 1000 chicks. So the economies of scale, the bigger you get, the more profitable it becomes. The smaller you do it, the more you find that your profit margins are low. So, would I tell you to do this? Yes, surely I would. And I would tell you that also there is an opportunity for two different markets. If you're a person who believes you're very good at taking care of chicken, take care of them between 0 chicks until 15 weeks. After 15 weeks, you're now selling them as layer birds. You're now able to sell them to other people. If you decide that you want to lay those eggs, why not just buy them at 15 weeks all the way until they start laying for you? And when they start laying for you, you are now making a profit from eggs. Each one of the two is a market stream that is very valuable and which has got its own market. The things is that also when you're doing all these things, you then also start learning about how to change the feed into making it much more cheaper. This is now by using of concentrates, using of local feeds available for these chickens to grow. And once you start doing that, also your costs you reduce on your costs. And when you start reducing on your costs, you start seeing a much more bigger profit margin at the bottom. As I say, this is a guideline. This is a guideline as you just using straight feed. This has got nothing with you using alternative feeds. But for it to make more money and for you to be more profitable, alternative feeds will be needed for you to make sure that you get more money. The labor will be another thing that will cut down on your costs because you know that you will need to pay this person monthly, or you will need to make sure that this person gets paid, or if they are doing other things, you are also being very much highly involved in making sure that this is a profitable venture. So I hope I have actually given as much information as possible. I thought this video was going to be short, but wow, it has taken me quite a long because I just wanted to make sure that I gave you as much information as possible. To those that have not subscribed and liked the channel at this point in time, I'd like to say please subscribe to the channel, like the channel, and give your comments, your likes, and turn off your notification bell on so that when I give you more information, you will be the first to know. Thank you very much to everyone and have a good day.